I think one of the things that you have to do when you're looking at changing people's behaviors, you look at a number of ways that you do that. Awareness is one, enforcement is another, but also the legislation has to keep up with it. And I think one of the things that the government decided was that the current penalty needed to be strengthened.
And I mean, there is still some confusion around what is distracted driving. People think, if I'm not texting and driving actively, then it's fine. And so just give us a little kind of rundown of the do's and don'ts of driving when you have a cell phone.
Sure. So there's two laws actually that fall under the umbrella of distracted driving. And one is the cell phone law, which means you can't hold, use, manipulate, or view a handheld electronic device while you're operating a motor vehicle. That includes if you're stopped at a stoplight, even stop waiting for a train. You're in control of that vehicle. So keep your hands off the vehicle. Don't be watching it. Don't be playing YouTube videos. Don't be typing on it. If you're an experienced driver, you can mount it on your dash and use voice activated options, using Siri, using the home button to tell it what to do. But you can't be touching it. And just so many of the people who get distracted driving tickets are just caught simply with that phone in their hand.
Oh, what about for emergency situations? Because I know that's a little different.
Yeah, for an emergency situation, if you have to call 911 to report an impaired driver, we think it's preferable if you can pull over and do that. There are certain exemptions, but generally those are very few and far between. And I think most of the cases where people are getting distracted driving tickets, it's people taking a look at their phone while they're driving, or holding it in front of their face on the speakerphone. I mean, if you've already got it on the speakerphone, why not just mount it and use it that way? Because if you're not a learner and you're not a novice driver, you are allowed to do that. Of course, using the phone in any way can be distracting. So it's something that people have to keep in mind.
I know the rules are kind of different around, the policing of drinking and driving versus texting and driving, and they're both very important. Do you think there is kind of any room at the, provincial level for looking at how this works and how that might be interpreted to, impaired driving?
Well, Saskatchewan does have very strong laws when it comes to impaired driving, especially when you're talking about the administrative penalties. I mean, even for a low alcohol level, you're looking at getting your vehicle impounded for 3 days and your license is suspended for 3 days. And so some of that actually, I think, carries over into the distracted driving penalties. And knowing that on a second offense within a year, being convicted on your first, you're going to get your vehicle impounded for a week. So it's a lot harder to drive distracted if you don't have a vehicle to drive. So I think that's one thing that people need to keep in mind. Not only the penalties going up, you're also looking at other severe penalties as well. Penalties through the demerits, financial penalties, or a loss of insurance discounts you've earned, or if you're on the negative side, you're looking at additional financial penalties, but also that vehicle impoundment, which again, the registered owner has to pay for the towing and impound fees for that vehicle, and you lose your vehicle for a week as well. So that's an inconvenience.
Yeah, definitely a lot to think about and a lot of repercussions for it. So hopefully we see a change. Thanks so much, Tyler.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, distracted driving is one of the leading causes of collisions, injuries, and fatalities on our roads, and it's really completely unnecessary. So I hope that this does make a difference.